Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner, and today's video is on a legend, one of my favorite football players of all time, Otis Taylor of the Kansas City Chiefs. So, if you like the video, one more time, please come in and share it. I would like to say give thanks to my team here at 100 Yards Football, my producer today, Mr. Jeremiah Long, people associated with 100 Yards Football, Mr. Ronnie Keebler, Mr. Bobby Butler, Mr. Mark Denham, and of course, Mr. Logan Landis. Thank y'all. I love y'all. Now, let's get to the legend. This past Thursday, I was going to work en route. I'm a courier here in the Atlanta metro area, and I was going to work in the area by a area of Stone Mountain, Georgia. And listened to talk radio, and I heard something come across my radio airways, and they said that Otis Taylor had passed. And I kind of took a moment to be silent, and I thought about what that young man meant to me as being a football player that got me really curious and excited about the game. See, everyone knows I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, so I don't have to go over that. The 901, congratulations to Penny Hardaway and the Memphis Tigers. But I was in the third grade at Longview Elementary. And I had a real good friend that was in my classroom. The gentleman's name was Jerry Knowlton. And me and him were very good friends. He went on to play football at Memphis State University, one of the best high school players that ever played in the city of Memphis, Southside High School. And that day, leading up this fan, but Jerry was a tremendous Kansas City Chiefs fan, and he loved Otis Taylor. Now, we're talking about 2 9-year-olds chopping it up, talking about, hey, who football players back in the day, like John Madden and Pat Summerall. And I said, you know what? That weekend, Kansas City was playing Minnesota in Super Bowl IV. And I'm going to take a real hard look at that Kansas City Chiefs team. The broadcasters here on 100 Yards Football, I told you the 70 team is one of my most favorite teams because they had 13 players from the HBCUs on the squad. But the most magnificent one, the one that was the most explosive, was this gentleman right here, Otis Taylor. And when you think about Otis Taylor, the first thing I think about is in the 1965 NFL draft. Now I'm going to read some names that went before him in the draft. Jack Snow of Notre Dame, Larry Eakins of Baylor, Roy Jefferson of Utah, Fred Biletnikoff of Florida State, Fred Hill of USC, David Johnson of John McQuire of Syracuse, Gary Garrison of San Diego. And I think about all the receivers went before Otis Taylor, even Fred Biletnikoff, who became a Hall of Famer. But make no bones, out of that list right there, to me, not now one of them could touch his shoes, could even come in the same arena. And I think about the explosiveness and the ability that Otis Taylor had. And all those gentlemen I just named, they came from Power 5 conferences. But back then, that's why the SWAC was the best conference of all of football. I don't care who you're talking about. But another thing that really stuck out in my mind about Otis Taylor is you think about the skill set. He was a high flyer, prototype, graceful, hand strength, concentration, the ability to track the ball in the air. But most of all, just his ability, you knew once he got the ball in his hands, he could take it to the house. And he was a big guy, about 6'2", 216 at the time, that was real huge for receivers. And then I think about 2 seasons before then, in the 66 season, when the AFL and NFL still hadn't merged, in the AFL when he had 58 receptions that year, 1,276 yards, but he averaged 22 yards a catch. See, years down the road, leading up to Super Bowl IV, we already know what Otis Taylor was about. But the greatest thing that I'm going to take to my grave, when you think about the moment, Super Bowl IV, that little out route, Lenny Dawson to Mr. Taylor, and he broke Eric McAvee's tackle. And then he high-stepped all the way down the sideline and high-stepped beside Carl, over Carl Cross. And you just said, man, one of the greatest moments ever. And that's when I just started to say, man, he's going to set the tone. He's going to set the position to another level in an era when they didn't even throw the football. But that beautiful 46-yard touchdown, taking it down the sidelines, that's vintage. That's vintage neighborhood. That's vintage Orange Mound. That's vintage Brooklyn, New York. That's vintage Lufkin, Texas. That's Prairie View University. Clem Daniels, Jim Kearney, Jimmy Lee Hunt, Jim Mitchell. Just Warren High School, Warrenton. Let me get it right. Mike Singletary, Terry Ellis of En Vogue, Larry Michaud, Cliff Branch. All in that one play. Otis Taylor, to me, put football on the map from a passing game experience. And then I sit back and I think about all the moments that I experienced that got me up when I seen special sports moments. And when you think about Otis Taylor in that 46-yard run, I'll go back. October the 16th, 1968, John Carlos and Tommy Smith, Mexico City. Then I go back. First game of the World Series, 1968. The young man from Omaha, Nebraska, Bob Gibson with the St. Louis Cardinals, had 17 strikeouts. Then I think about the young man out of Galileo High School, his 64-yard touchdown run. USC versus UCLA, number 1 versus number 2. Then I think about Ali defeating George Foreman. Me being a 13-year-old with my father, Chester Turner, watching at the Malco Theater, October the 3rd of 1974. And then a young man from Arkansas, another St. Louis Cardinal, September the 10th, 1974, breaking the major league record in stolen bases. His name, Louis Brock. And I think about Otis Taylor and all what he did in that one play. That goes into the moments in my mind, great sport moments that made me proud and understanding because of this young man right here. And I know that I think it's a tragedy. It's sad that none of the former NFL players of this time, which recently got voted in the Hall of Fame, and even some of the Kansas City Chiefs. Don't get me wrong, the Chiefs right now are riding high. Mahomes 2 out of 3 Super Bowls, but I don't ever hear anybody talking about and lobbying for Otis Taylor being in the Hall of Fame. Even the players today like Randy Moss, like Marvin Harrison, like Terrell Owens, I'm sorry, like Chad Johnson, like Chris Carter, like Jerry Rice, like Sterling Shaw, even you, Shannon Shaw. And y'all not even fighting for this man to be in the Hall of Fame. Come on. Odell Beckham, Kevin Johnson. Do y'all realize he set the position for y'all? And he's not in the Hall of Fame. Oh, a lot of people saying it's the stats because he only had 400 receptions. In his career, 7,300 yards, 7,306 yards, and 57 touchdowns. But look at the impact he done with the game. Look what he done with the receivers. I'm going to go back to 1966 one more time. 58 receptions that year. 1,276 yards. Averaged 22 yards a catch. in an era that didn't even throw the football. MVP in the championship game against the Oakland Raiders. They got the Chiefs to the Super Bowl. 2-time first team All-Pro, 2-time Pro Bowler. In an era, one more time, they didn't even throw the football. And you go back to that play in the third quarter, Super Bowl IV. Kansas City lead 16-7 over Minnesota. And he takes that little out route, goes 46 yards down the sideline. And it clinches Super Bowl championship for the Kansas City Chiefs. And his quarterback, Len Dawson, before he passed several months earlier of this year, said this about Otis Taylor. Otis Taylor is the greatest football player I ever played with. Not only the greatest player, the greatest teammate that anybody could want. That's what Len Dawson said. And then you think about the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl in 1970 and him being on that Mount Rushmore that year of some great achievements. And I'll go back to that 46-yard reception. Think about that year, the New York Knicks win the NBA championship and Willis Reed coming off the bench. Then thinking about Willie McCovey that year being voted most MVP with the San Francisco Giants, Major League Baseball. Then you think about the Miracle Mets. A young man that was most MVP, Don McClendon, that's from the Atlanta metro area, Morehouse High School. And you put all that together in 69, and you put Otis Taylor. It was great to be a kid living in Memphis, Tennessee. And I'm going to say it one more time before I leave today, is that it's a shame. You look what's going on in the National Football League, and you're looking at all these people that's getting voted into the Hall of Fame. And this guy kind of transcended the position when they weren't even throwing the football. And you look at all these other great receivers, from Drew Pearson, the Al Toon, the Lynn Swan, the Cliff Branch, the Chad Johnson, the Randy Moss, the Marvin Harrison, even the great Jerry Rice, DeAndre Hopkins, Tariq Hill, Mike Quick, Andre Johnson, Odell Beckham Jr. Not one receiver has even came, and I heard on all these platforms, all y'all, not even the HBCU platforms, y'all not lobbying for this man to be in the Hall of Fame. It's sad. Otis Taylor, one of the greatest that ever done it. My hero. Put him up there with O.J. Simpson, Ali, Gibson, Lou Brock. And you know what? He done it in the era under some real serious times. And you know what I'm talking about. My final words about Otis Taylor. It goes back to pleasant memories of this man out of Houston, Texas. When I think about Otis Taylor, I think about that TV show that premiered in 1969, Room 222. One of my favorite actresses, a beautiful lady. Denise Nichols starred in that series on TV. And Room 222 was always about helping the young people in high school. And I think about that year the Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl after the 69 season in 1970, Super Bowl IV in New Orleans. That's great memories, man. And that 46-yard touchdown that Mr. Taylor took down the sideline. I like to say, if you like the video, one more time, please come in and share. We surely appreciate here 100 Yards Football. Thank you to my producer. I consider him the greatest in America, and thank him for everything he's done for me, Mr. Jeremiah Long. One more time to the team here, 100 Yards Football, Mr. Logan Landis, Mr. Mark Denham, Mr. Bobby Butler. First round draft choice of the Atlanta Falcons, 1981, by way of Florida State University. And of course, the BK, Brooklyn, New York, my man, Mr. Ronnie Keeble. Many respect. I wouldn't be nowhere here without you, sir. My final words today here at 100 Yards Football. I want to give honor and love to one of the greatest wide receivers that played in the National Football League, Otis Taylor. And I'd like to say special thanks to his wife, to his son, Otis Taylor III, and to his sister. I want to say thank you for allowing America to witness what this man did, especially for me being a 9-year-old kid out of Memphis, Tennessee. I'd like to say much love and honor and proudness to the Taylor family. To me, Otis Taylor's and Vincent Turner in 100 Yards Football Hall of Fame. Believe that. Thank you one more time to the Taylor family.